What's up, y'all? How you guys doing? Welcome to the War Room at Bouqui'S Place. And you know what we do? We don't talk about the glitz or the glam. We talk about the grit and the grind. And we bring your favorite people to share with us, people with knowledge, experience. And in the house today, I have the phenomenal Audu Maikori. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a drum roll welcome to the one and only Audu Maikori, founder of Chocolate City Group. What's up, my brother?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
I did. How are things with you? What's happening?
Good. Just chilling. No chinchilla, but we're chilling.
I think you're chilling. I think you're really chilling. I mean, from my little view, I think you're chilling. So
It's the
don't be
AC.
humble. Don't be humble. Just be yourself.
Man, thank you so much for doing this. How is the atmosphere where you are? I know you're in Atlanta. How is the atmosphere around the Nigerian community?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of protests. I was part of one the week before, and there's one
Okay.
this past weekend, and it was covered in media as well, and it was done around the CNN Center.
Oh,
Probably
wow.
600-700 people came, and so it was quite it was huge. It was a huge turnout of people.
Wow.
But literally everybody knows about the EndSARS thing. It's a global phenomenon. People know about it. It's as not as loud, but almost as loud as BLM itself, because in a sense, it's about police brutality, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
about how Black or African lives matter. So it's huge. I mean, a lot of groups, a lot of people talking. I've been many people have reached out to me from the African American community. How can we help? How can we support? How can we amplify the voices of what's going on? So yeah, it's huge.
Wow. And how do you think we can use their influence? How can they help?
I mean, I think there are loads of Nigerians in the abroad, as they say.
In the Americas.
In the abroad, whether it be America, whether it be Europe. And I think that because Nigerians don't know how to keep quiet in the community, they must make their presence felt. They also have a lot of followers and fans and friends. So they're quite invested in making sure that this potentially the greatest Black nation actually finds its feet and, begins to stand for what they should stand for.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so we're very loud people. Everybody knows that. That goes without telling. So I want us to talk about this is the War Room in Bouqui'S Place, and this is where we break things down. And we've been bringing a lot of people that are in the center, in the thick of things, and I want you to lend your voice as a lawyer from the point of view of the law. I want you to speak to people, and there is no way to go forward without first going back. So the first thing we do is we go back to the protest. What do you think we did right? What do you think we did wrong? What could have been done better?
I don't think, you see, when it comes to things like this, there's no such thing as one
right or wrong.
I mean, there's no such thing. Look, it was not a planned thing. It was spurred by years of frustration and being muffled, and people decided to vent and vex and just come out of themselves. So you can't plan this kind of thing. You understand? You can't write it out. There's no, it wasn't like there was a push button where they said on the such and such date this will happen. No, what happened was it culminated into a volcano, an eruption of the volcano, which had been building up. And like any volcano, it takes years and years for it to build up. The lava builds up and then it begins to boil, and then it can't contain itself anymore. So at the point at which the volcano erupts, you ask the volcano, could we have erupted to the left, not to the right? you can't say that, So it was something that was bound to happen. It happened. And what we can learn is how to do the next set. So now it was happenstance. Now we know that there's a problem. Now we know we need to fix it. The question is, what are the next steps that need to happen?
Sorry, it's not Corona. I just sneezed.
Let's be guided here, please. Let's be very guided.
Mask. I beg, can I use your mask? I don't know.
I beg you, please. I don't want any problem. I don't want any issues. Let it not be said that I'm the one who set up the record of catching coronavirus on a live
IG.
And I've been in Instagram Live for a long time, so I'm just afraid, sorry. All due respect to you people, you know. But if you confirm to me that it's okay for me to take my mask, I'll take off.
Take your mask off, please.
I'm just, you see, I'm a very obedient person. I'm very obedient. So once you direct, I will always obey. I'm that kind of guy.
All right. So sorry about that. You were saying, yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that Nigerians need to understand something. We're at war. We are at war, whether you like it or not. You know, I've been in several conversations over the past 2 weeks. There's literally no day that I'm not in these conversations with different political groups, different people, just talking about it.
Yes.
And what I keep telling them is that, and some people are saying, so what do we do? Are you sure? You know, look at what happened to these people. The question is that, what choice do you have? You know, you don't have a choice. We think we have a choice, but you don't have a choice. You have 2 choices, right? Either you continue as you are, or you seek for more. And in life, that's all it is across board. If you're a lawyer, you either become a better lawyer, or you sink into complacency. If you're a dancer, you only become a better dancer, or you sink into complacency. So in life, you must make that decision as to how you want to move forward, regardless, or you stay where you are.
Where you are.
Staying is stagnancy. Stagnancy leads to murkiness. Murkiness leads to death. Or you keep moving, and in the process of moving, look, even nature tells you that your body needs to be exercising for you to be healthy.
Yeah.
If you're sat on this chair from morning to night, your body will become stagnant and you will die. The question to all Nigerians and Africans who might be listening is this: do you want to grow or do you want to die? If you know that we don't want to die, then this has to happen. Simple. You have no choice about it. And once you realize you have no choice, what happens? You enter action with boldness. It's time for people to be bold about their future, because if you don't, you will die. Remember, you will die. You will die. You are dying. The 4 or 8 people that were killed during the toll gate, that's a small number compared to how many people die in Nigeria every single day of police brutality. That's a small number compared to people who die of medical malpractice. I've lost close friends, I've lost in-laws, I've lost father and mother because of the poorness of the health service in Nigeria. So the question is that when you say to yourself, well, politics is dirty, so who's going to do it? Why are you wasting our time? I mean, I talk when I have to, but I work more than I talk.
Yes.
Right? You have to work it out. So we can sit down from morning to night and say, well, Nigeria is bad, Buhari was a bad choice, well, it was better than Jonathan, but then it's all talk. Do you want to live or do you want to die? The minute you decide that you want to live, then you have to do what living things do. They locomote, right? They metamorphosize, right? They eat,
evolve.
they excrete, they keep moving, and that's how you live. If you are born and you are in a bed from the day you're born till today, you will die. Nigeria is on its deathbed. Nothing works. Nothing works. The only thing that works in Nigeria are the people, and even the people are struggling, because how do you provide security, electricity, jobs, healthcare? We are living in a world where the average Nigerian is government unto himself or herself. Think about the men and the women. The average Nigerian provides electricity for himself. I can say, Oga Dele Momodu.
Uncle Dele.
Big up to you, sir. Big up to you, sir.
Uncle Dele, I'll have you soon. We need to talk from your own perspective. All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir, and I hope I'll have you soon too, because he's a big mentor to me, and he's been on this journey. And many years ago, I watched him in Houston. I was in Maryland when he was running for president, and I recall that I was inspired because people thought that it was foolhardy what he was doing. He saw the future, is futuristic about the need for a new kind of leadership that is not focused on self, but self. But anyway, back to what I was saying is that the average Nigerian provides electricity, healthcare, education, roads, because it's our youth that go and fill up all these roads by ourselves. You see people with wheelbarrows filling up roads by themselves. Meanwhile, the government has given a contract for these things. So the question is that for the Nigeria we want, we're not asking for 5G network in all our homes. We're not asking for Ivy League education for every child. We're asking for small fundamental tweaks that will change Nigeria. Number one, our educational criteria. Our educational criteria. We are building civil servants, not problem solvers. That must change.
Yeah.
That must change. We want entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. We don't want people who are career civil servants, who are looking, whose highest aspiration
Salary.
is a director general or director of somewhere, work 9 to 5, do nothing in the office, and just basically be pushing paper. So change the educational system. And if we change our curriculum to focus on skills and not just degrees for the sake of it, then you find out that more people can get into the educational bracket. Besides, education has changed. Right now, I'm being educated talking to Bouqui'S on Instagram. That didn't cost me a huge fee, it just cost me data. So data is now the new enrollment fees. Harvard, top schools are giving you free education now. You can actually do a course on Harvard today, online, virtually, wherever you are. So how can leadership think about what is needed now and not what's written in some old document? You know, that's number one. Number two, we have a constitutional problem in Nigeria. Think about the context. Major Abdul Salam Abubakar was chilling, senior officer, and one day they woke up and said, "Hey, you're Mr. President." So he wakes up and says, "Wow, Mr. President, wow, me, I never." So he's confused, and he's like, "Okay, what do we do?" And he does an honorable thing. He promises to return Nigeria to democratic rule, but he has a problem. The constitution has been suspended. So what does he do? He gets a bunch of people and says, "Knock together something. It won't be perfect. No constitution is perfect, but let's have something that regulates the relationship between Nigerians and all that." And it was written with a military mindset of sorts. Do you understand?
Well,
because it's a
break that down. Break that down.
When I say military mindset, immunity, things like immunity from impeachment and things like that, things about the powers of the governor, the exclusive legislative list, all these things. There was a mindset around the federal system then that was written. Remember, it wasn't a document of the people by the people. It was a document of a person or a group of people for the people.
For the people.
But in fairness to him, his thinking was, when you guys get into your democracy, change it. Work out the document that works for you. But this is a guideline, right? Change it the way you want to do it. And the second thing that I found, I worked in legal regulatory things, and I've been part of several transactions. Ports concession, the railway concessions, the Lagos Rail Mass Transit. I've worked on that. And my job then as a senior legal consultant is to look at the legal framework and work with legal provisions to get things done, right? So you'll find that in every law, there is a regulatory power that is given to the minister. Do you understand? So the minister has changed. So let's say there's an act that says, let me give you an example. There's the Nigerian Communications Act. There's a minister. Within the act, there's something that enables the minister to make regulations from time to time to change the direction, so that the law established this as a decree. It's
governing,
it's a power in itself, only second to the Constitution. If there's a clash between both documents, the Constitution overrides that.
Overrules,
But that act gives the minister power to change a lot of things. Many ministers don't use that power to change regulations.
Is it that they don't use it, or they will not be allowed to? Because if the Constitution is military in nature, you know that there are restrictions.
No. The document allows them. It gives them the power. I'll give an example. It tells you that as a minister, you have the power to make regulations. What do regulations mean? You can say that today, the charge of flying by air is 1,000 naira. But tomorrow, we're going to update it to 10,000 naira to reflect the realities of the time.
What I'm saying is, it is in the Constitution that we have the right to protest peacefully. But they came and shot at us. So
that's another conversation. That's what
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That if we're going by the Constitution, and some people can still do whatever they want, do you think the ministers have tried and they've like, no?
So again, and that's why I was talking about the problem with the Constitution. It was
Yeah,
written
okay.
by a military dictator that gives overwhelming powers to the president of Nigeria. The president can do and undo.
And undo.
Right? Until we change that constitution, it will always be skewed towards allowing governors and these people certain privileges that they don't deserve anymore. That's a 20-year-old document.
So how do we change it?
We need to pressure our House of Representatives. We need to protest for 1 year. I'll give you an example. Do you know, a close friend of mine was part of the Sudan uprising of last year. So when the chat room last weekend, we were talking about the whole NSAS thing with a bunch of different people, and she said something. She said, in Sudan, they protested for 1 year. 1 year, not 4 days. And let me tell you what happened that time. Internet was cut down. People were being arrested. On one day, 3,000 people were killed by the military forces. 3,000 civilians. Women were raped several times during that period. But they stood resolute for 1 year. They did not budge. You see, the power is in the people, with the people. We're just not ready to make the sacrifice. Is that when we get pushed back, we get discouraged. And the government knows that you will be discouraged. It's a matter of time. It's a waiting game. Don't worry. We'll just shoot one or two of them. They'll calm down. Trust me. Let them keep shooting one. And the difference between the shooting those people at the toll gate is that it was recorded. It was recorded live. In Southern Kaduna, over 1,000 people have died this year. In Southern Kaduna.
Wow.
Live. What has government done about it? Nothing. Shiites were killed 4 or 5 years ago, about 1,000 or so. What happened? Nothing. In Zamfara, people have been killed every day. In Katsina, people have been killed. And it's not 10 people, it's not 20 people, it's 30, 40, 50, or 100 people. What's the difference? The difference is that there's a camera.
It's not recorded.
Lagos, and there's media. If all the other places had the media that Lagos had, I'm telling you, Nigerians will not sit in peace today. And that's the problem. The reality of our existence is based off of Lagos. And Lagos, with all due respect to Lagos, is barely 10% of the population of Nigeria.
Wow. Wow.
So constitutional reform is a must. Any government that wants to come in and doesn't want to talk about constitutional review is a joker. Know that they're just going to continue the same thing. Because guess what? If tomorrow I'm president of Nigeria, you think I'm not going to use the powers for my own, I will. You know what I'm saying? Because after a while, I begin to feel like I'm right. And that's the problem with Nigeria. There are no checks and balances. Make sure that if I'm not able to secure life and property, and it goes on for 3-6 months, they should be able to, what do you call that thing? What's that thing where they should be able to
like what they do here. It's checks and balances here. Yeah.
I've forgotten the name, but legally terminate my Jesus, I can't remember the name. I can't believe it, but you know what it means. That as a government, they will impeach me.
Impeach. Was that what you were trying to remember? Audu.
There's too much going on in the head. There's just too much. I'm reading books now. Books every day, too many books. But it's impeach. Is that if you fail to deliver your job, right? And then another analogy to think about is simple. If you're the CEO of a company, or you're on the board of a company has objectives, KPIs, targets, financial things. You review the work of your CEO on a yearly basis. If the CEO has failed after 2 or 3 times, what do? You fire him. So let us fire people. Let's fire people. What happened to Jonathan Review?
Jonathan's in 2012.
Nobody knows. I mean, I know there's something, but it was very politicized as well. It was almost like, Jonathan, you're trying to be smart. You want to stay on. That way you're trying to use this as a bait. And I don't know whether he really meant to do it, to be honest, or not. But the point was, it was done. I think that if this government actually wants to show its good faith, begin that process. Let there be a constitutional review. Let us change the powers. Let's agree on how we want to live as Nigerians. Are we going to live as... And I think that the federal government is too powerful. Again, constitutional problem. The federal powers given to the government, the power given to the federal government.
Absolute power,
power. So that's why everybody wants to be president or minister. But guess what? If you have a regional system whereby local governments think about what happens in places like Europe and in America, a mayor, a councilman, they are powerful. They affect things directly in the community. And that's why some people don't even care about. I mean, the presidency is always important because he's like a heroic central figure.
Yeah, figure.
But people know that I can call my senator and say, Senator Bouquie, I'm not happy with the road in this thing, and then what happens?
I receive it.
Yeah, you deserve it. Yeah. And so what happens is that Senator Bouquie knows that I don't want them to be querying me like this. So I will do something about it.
Do something.
Now, Bouquie, in your local government, if you call the senator, he may not pick up the phone. You know, he will not pick up the phone. And if you harass him, say, sir, I'm not happy, there's no borehole in this is, he'll say, you know, it's the federal government. He will just walk away. That is if he doesn't feel insulted that you're even talking to him in the first place. They're like, who are you? Who are you?
Wow.
So this is the fundamental difference. Guys, you are the bosses. They were appointed to represent you on a board. No CEO is more powerful than the board of directors. Nigeria is the board of directors. The president is the CEO, right? And together we form the majority vote on that board. If we allow the CEO too many powers that we cannot remove him, then we're in trouble.
Wow.
That's what we have to fix just going forward. Because guess what? Bouquie, even you with the best of intentions, if you have access to power, you will abuse it absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolute power corrupts absolutely, yes.
You will.
Yes.
So what you need is a check and balance system that doesn't allow my ego to get ahead of me. Right? That forces me to say, oh, I have a quarterly meeting, I need to be ready. And when you need to present your board, you're humble. You now begin to work at your KPIs. What KPIs have this government achieved? What they promised that's come through? And what are we going to do about it? Nothing. What we do was reward them with another 4 years.
Yeah.
So
now we're talking.
Why would I care?
Go ahead.
No,
Go
if
ahead.
I were you and I know that I get an automatic appointment, why should I care about what you're saying? You have no power over me.
Because what we're talking about is foundational problem versus structural problem. Because now it appears that we're pulling down the structures and trying to rebuild. And when the foundation is faulty, there's absolutely nothing you can do. You have to fix. So going forward now, you're talking about, reviewing the Constitution and fixing it and all that. But with the present government that we have, that our president ignored us for 4 days after a massive shootout, and then came and did not even address the thing that the entire world is talking about. I'm just trying to put what you're saying in context. How are we going to go and meet this kind of person that we want to have a sit down? Or is this war? Because this is like we're on the verge of a civil war.
It is war. You have to make a call. Do you want to live or do you want to die? It's simple. What is war? War is when military people are being deployed to quell a lack of unrest in some place. Right? You don't call it war when it's internal because you're like, it's called peacekeeping. Right?
Yeah.
But it is war when you shoot an unarmed person in public and you deny that it happened, and then there's also the evidence that it's happening. So imagine how many more lies we've been told in Nigeria about things that happened that nobody confessed to. Again, I've been the story of killings in Jos, in Katsina, in Zamfara, in Borno State, in Benue, in Kaduna. These things have happened. Has the government ever talked about them? They ignore them. They never face the topics. They always say, oh, some unrest. I'm glad this happened in Lagos. Because since 2016, I've been talking about what's going on in Nigeria. And I know what I went through for saying those things. So when people are talking about it, I'm just watching like, well, thanks, guys. Welcome to the party. Because we already knew this. You didn't know this because it didn't affect Lagos. Now it's happened to you in Lagos. What are you going to do? You Lagosians, there are 20 million of you, less than 1 million of you voted in 2019. Shame on you. Shame on you. And then you want change. How are you going to get change? Because the same people who have power will dictate it and determine it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So for me, my personal philosophy in life is what you can do, do it. My second philosophy is if it's to be, it has to be me. My third is people can talk their talk, you walk your walk, we'll see who gets there first.
It's
simple. So we can keep on talking for money tonight, but yeah, somebody said you're glad to have Lagos. That's insensitive. It's not insensitive, ma'am. It's not insensitive.
No, let's put that Adejoke. What he's saying is, if you don't know, this is Audu Maikori, and he's been the reason why he's one of the poster people for the war room at Bouqui'S place is because he's been saying this for so long. I don't know how much of what is going on with you want to say or talk about, but he's been talking about this for so long to the point that it affected his family, his health, and everything. And so that's why he's saying, I've been saying this, and now you guys are catching up. So he's not saying, oh, God catch you, it happened. No, that's not what he's saying. He's not that kind of person at all. So
yeah,
please,
but just and the reason why I'm highlighting is that, I mean, I don't expect everybody to like what I say. And that's the truth. Like, that's the nature of truth, right? You might like it, might not like it. But I'm saying that until it happened, nobody understood what was happening.
You won't feel it, yeah.
And the context I'm saying that is like saying, I'm glad that I lost money in a bad business venture because I learned how to manage money better thereafter. So it's not a good thing, but something came out of it. Is that now you guys are talking politics because for the first time you're realizing that, this is not what we think it really is. Because Lagos, to be honest, is the wealthiest state in Nigeria. Lagos is a country. Lagos is a country. Lagos makes 60% of Nigeria's GDP. Lagos alone. So over half of Nigeria's GDP is Lagos. So Lagos definitely is not the average Nigerian reality. Unfortunately, it's presented like it is, but it's not. So that's why I'm saying that if you live in Lagos, you won't see some of these things. But now now you understand that it is happening pervasively across the country. It's just not being reported as much because the media presence is not as much. So this is a wake-up call for all of us to understand that we're at war. And this war is for those who decide that they're going to stand for something that's beyond themselves, beyond their comforts. And those people that died during this crisis, I don't want to imagine what their parents, their family, their kids are going through. It's the most painful thing. And I'm saying because of that, we must honor their memory by changing so that this doesn't happen to another person. That's why, and that's why I think I've kind of learned from watching other climbs, is that when there's a catastrophe, it spurs a new movement for something better. So I'll give an example. My father passed last month, right? A month and a half ago, and when he passed,
condolences.
Thank you so much. I mean, he died of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. And for me, what I need to do with that is I'm focusing on trying to build something. I don't want to talk too much about it, but around healthcare for people with that. Let his memory serve me to use some time on my resources
as an incentive to channel,
not to cry in my room about that, but say,
channel the energy,
resources to help other people so they don't have to go through what I went through. And that's what was changed. So for the people that died, the only thing we can do today is make sure that people don't have to die again because we didn't hold the government accountable. So the next guys that come into government, they know we're watching them. They know we're not going to tolerate that rubbish. And if you misbehave, we will raise our voices, we'll bring you down, we won't elect you again.
And then talking about the people in government and young people, a lot of people, while this protest was going on, a lot of the young people were like, we don't need old people, we need young people, we need young people. And today, a video has surfaced of a man we will not mention. Don't cover your face. If you don't get money.
I need the time to wear my mask. I'm going to wear my mask again. I need to be safe. I need to wear my mask. It's time to be safe. So nobody can see my
no, I mean, I saw a few videos before he got elected. And it was like, I really owe my social media people. This is what got me into office. And now he's saying, we have to regulate. And I'm like, wait. So what I'm thinking in my head, because 2 days ago, we had Olakunle Shoriyan, and he gave an analogy that didn't leave my mind. He said
That's my guy. That's a bad guy.
yeah. He said that there's like a basket full of he said if you have a basket of eggs and you bring 4 eggs and you crack them in a plate and they're rotten, and you go back and, oh, these eggs are bad, and you take 4 more eggs and they're rotten, and you keep repeating that and all the eggs are rotten. He said at some point you should stop and realize that all these eggs are rotten. And that was what he said. But as I continue to think about it, there's this thing called sympathetic resonance, which means that when you put eggs, good eggs, in a basket full of bad eggs, it will attach itself to it, because this person in question went in with a good intention. He went with clarity, and now he's saying we need to warn the young people, the celebrities, and I'm like, you know. So could it be that once you get into that system, you become like the bad eggs, or what is going on with that?
So and I think, you see, this what you just said here, this last question, you can do like 17 sessions on this. Trust me, you can do 17 different sessions on this, because it's a very, very important part of rulership, followership, and leadership, right? Or should I say leadership and followership? There are 2 ways to look at it. One, what is the system that you find yourself? Warren Buffett said something. He said, when this is in business, but we can apply it. Warren Buffett said something. He said that when a manager with a sterling track record, meets an industry that has a track record of poor performance, is usually the industry that keeps his reputation.
So you can't come and affect change like that.
Is that the industry, to a large extent, usually keeps its reputation, because it is overwhelming. You're operating within an industry, not outside of it. So that's
you can't go rogue.
That's one way of answering the question. But the second thing is that there have been people who have come in and have affected those same industries in ways that were amazing. Dora Akinyuli, for example. The lady, forgive me if I know her name, but the lady who helped us out with COVID, with SARS. That lady, the woman.
Yes,
that
please
us.
type her name. Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, that woman. And what's
Miriam
amazing,
or something.
Adevo, Miss Adevo, something like Dr. Adevo. The woman could have caved to the industry. She refused. Dora could have caved. She refused. In fact, there are many instances of women who have refused because there was something bigger for them, their heart.
Aisha Yesufu. Yes. Thank you.
Aisha Yesufu, amazing woman. There are loads of them. Is it Obi? There are loads of these people who have fought for something that's amazing. And I'm not saying that men can't be trusted. Yes, I'm saying men can be trusted.
We all know that. You don't have to say. Men, you guys can whip me, can flog me later on. After this, you can flog me. I'll give you my address, come flog me. But the truth is this, is that it's a call you need to make. The person we're talking about had a decision to make. He made the wrong decision. He decided that it was more important to stay within a system than to stay out of the system. In my career, in my life, I've had situations and circumstances where I had to make a choice about what I believed or what the financial gain would have been to me. And I always chose what I believed over financial gain. So, and I've suffered for it. Do you want to share a little bit of the suffering, just a little, and why you are out of the system?
No, I mean, it's really just, it's always been about, I mean, there's several instances I'll tell you, but let me tell you an interesting story. And it's slightly political. So there's an organization I was part of, and I was going to, and somebody called me and said, hey, Audu, I'm running for this position and I want you to support me. So I said to him, I am going to support you. You're young, you have a great vision, let's do it. Right? So we agreed. And then at some point in time, he called me maybe 2 weeks later and said, Audu, why don't you run for this other position? And I'm like, no, I'm not really interested in running for anything. Like, I will support you. I mean, he said, no, I think you'll be great. You'll be a great addition because of your skills and blah, blah, blah. So I thought about it for a long time. And then I'm like, okay, why the hell not? Let's just do it. I mean, instead of me always complaining that the organization wasn't working well, maybe I should get my hands dirty, right? So I took the position and I was going to run for it. Now, the day before the election, there was a lot of politicking. It was like a PDP primary or an APC primary, right? So it was, people were spending money, different cohorts. And then at one point in time, somebody who was older and more powerful reached out to me and said, hey, Audu, we like you. We think you'd be great for this position, but you can't win if you're going with this other guy. So come with us. They come to our crew. We'll make sure you get that position.
The day before.
Yeah, the day before. And so I'm totally confused. Like, why is this such a big deal? Like, what's so big about this thing? So I said, so he said, but so he took me around, introduced me to all the power brokers to establish the fact that these guys run everything. So how do you need to behave yourself? So he walks up to me and says, okay, so what's your position? And I'm not a short guy. I'm about 6 feet. He's taller than I am. So you can imagine how tall the guy was. And he was looking down on me like, so Audu, are you going to come with us or are you going to go with these guys? It's your choice. You're a good man, but this may affect your future or not. And I said to him, I looked to him right up in the eye. Wasn't like this, or more like this. Right? And I said to him, I said, I came here because of that guy. He was the one who nominated me. He's the one who convinced me to run. And I came here to help. I will never betray him because of a sure position in this place. So I will stick with the guy. And if I fail, then it's just as well. But I will not sell out the person that brought me in because
integrity
or win. And I stepped away and he said, I respect that. Thank you. And he walked away. Next day was election. There were two positions that were won unanimously. Right? It was one other position of mine. I was the only candidate, actually, that both parties, both camps walked up. So imagine that the first guy that endorsed me came and said, I nominate Audu. Then the other guy who tried to convince me to come on the side came and said, I second. Do you get? So I won. I mean, it was unanimous. There was no thing about it. And when we finished, an older man came and met me and said, who are you? I said, I'm nobody. He said, I've never seen, these guys were at each other's throats, but they agreed on you. And I always thought about why they agreed on me. They agreed on me for one thing. One, they knew I could do the job, but that wasn't enough. It was that the fact that I didn't sell out to either showed both sides that this is someone you can trust.
Integrity.
And for me, that is the value of leadership. So for all of you who have gone through those things about immediate gain, I think legacy. I don't think about my pocket now. I think about the pockets of my children tomorrow. And I learned that off of watching what my father did. My father, at a point in time, was given incentives to, he was a politician as well. And one time he was asked to decamp to a party so he would be given a sure shot, 5 commissioner posts, contracts, things like that. He said, no, I'm in this party. Even though the party did me wrong, I'll never endorse another party. And he walked away from it. He suffered from it in the short term. But in the long term, look what we are enjoying from that. So think integrity, think long term. Don't get excited about now because anybody can get it now. But how about the future? And when we talk about the future, we think about ourselves as the future. We're not thinking about our children as beneficiaries of the future. So if every governor in Nigeria, every chairman, every president thought about what will people say in 10 years' time when I die, then the actions to take today will be different. But when you think short term about how much you want to willpower, how you want to be rich, how you want to show people that you're the king and you're the boss, then you do all the wrong things now and forget about tomorrow.
Wow. We need to start thinking long term. Wow. That is because you know what they say about the spotlight, especially for artists. The spotlight is that circle light that everybody stands in, and what that light does is it's a 360 illumination. It's not like when you're giving a speech. When you're giving a speech, the light could come from here, and all you hear or see is what I want you to see. You perceive what I am trying to let you see. But when it's a spotlight, it's like this. So if you turn, I can see if there's a hole in your back. You can see this. So that's what the spotlight does. So I'm thinking of this young man. And to me, I really don't think it's about the conforming. I really think that the spotlight is just bringing out what is really in him. You know what I'm saying?
So,
go ahead.
You know, you're absolutely right. I'll be honest, right? When we think about people that we want to work with in the future, I think one thing that we forget to do is do what every other person does. Because we think that politics is politics has been so over-romanticized that we don't understand that it is very basic.
Yeah.
Politics is simple. I'm appointing you. I'm entrusting you with the fate of millions. At that point in time, your decisions aren't about yourself anymore. They're about the other people.
Yeah.
Right? And before you entrust the fate of your children's children to one man, you have to ask yourself about the background checks. Have you done your due diligence on the person? Who is he? What is he stood for?
Track record.
What's his track record? So the mistake we keep making is people believed, like when President Buhari was running, people believed that, he was a reformed Democrat. I don't believe it. Because, and he's not a bad man, but that's who he is. Do you understand? It's like someone saying that if you came to Audu's house, you will not see a nice sound system or a record. You should know from my track record. I love music, so you must see that in my house. But imagine you come to my house and you find out that there's not one CD player, no music. Then I'm doing music business. Hello, isn't that a disconnect? That's to show that there's something wrong. So I'm saying that with these people that we're choosing, what is their track record? What have they stood for? What they ever sacrificed? Is it about social media following? Is it just the fact that you're good looking or you speak well? Anybody can speak well. Anybody can look good. Anybody can dress well. Anybody can talk about a great Nigeria. But the question is that, what have you done in the past for this Nigeria you talk about? What sacrifices have you made? How
well are you even leading your own self?
How have you done those? How have you led your own family and things like that? So, again, guys, 10% of the people, 9 out of 10 people are conformists. In sociology, it's only 1 out of 10 people that are leaders. Being a conformist means you will go with what the people are doing.
Yeah.
You don't have your own mind. So the leaders you're choosing, do they have their own mind? Do they? And where is that mind minded to? Are they people minded? Are they profit minded? Look at what's happening in America. If you looked at what the President Trump did all the years and followed it up, it all tallies, right? It tallies. It's not changed. So why do we keep thinking that people change all of a sudden? People don't change all of a sudden. People are themselves. By the time you're 12, your main character is
cast, yes.
So I don't expect an antelope to give birth to a giraffe.
A lion.
It's hallucination. So the thing is, guys, for Nigeria to move forward, is that there needs to be a total reset. Let's set standards. Who are you? What have you done? Why did you do this when you did it? Today we're talking about Okonjo-Iweala and we're saying, WTO. Do you know why that woman got it? It's not because she's African. Don't make a mistake. It's not tokenism. Go and look at her CV. Go and look at the positions she's held, right? And we have a reasonably good relationship with her.
Pedigree.
Look, listen, when I sit with you can talk to a person who's so brilliant, but they're so simple. For me, intelligence is simplicity. Intelligence is not big words. It's bringing down complex things so that every person
can understand.
Every person like myself can understand. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can sit down with this lady and she will break down complex things for you. And she will treat you as a human being, regardless of how old, where you're from, your background. So for me, that is leadership. So she's getting those endorsements. She had 104 out of 164 countries. That's a huge feat. They're not close in margins at all. They're both women. She's older. So it's not a question of we don't want women. One of them will have a female DG, no doubt. It could be a color issue, maybe. But if it was a color issue, then maybe you'd see that in the balance of power, the Europeans have more power than Africans.
Yeah.
It's competence. It's her track record. What did she do? What did she achieve? People look at all those things today and say, this girl is worthy of track record. So let us not pick people because we think they've become born again. After all, even if you're born again, you can backslide.
Of course.
So that's not criteria.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you mentioned something about the president. The president. And I'm thinking it's really controversial. I don't know if we should talk about what the heck? We're talking about it. There's a controversy, there's a conspiracy
Yeah.
going on that we are presidentless because they believe that the president is dead. There is a controversy about
No.
No. You don't believe it?
I don't just off of what I know, I'm sorry, and just my training, I think you need to give me something. We can always guess different things.
No, but there'd be like side by side comparison. It was shorter. There was the height difference between him and his vice president, and now he's closer. He used to sit like this, and now he sits like this, and his ears and all those things.
To be honest, I've never.
He used the right hand, and now he used the left hand, and now he uses right. You know.
Honestly, I didn't know. No, so to be honest, right? It's like again. These are, and that's neither here nor there. Do you understand? Because if it is true, it will come out eventually. It will come out eventually. You can't hide it for long. That's the truth about it. So I'm not even concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is our thinking that the problem is Buhari. That's the problem that I'm concerned about. It's not Buhari, guys. Let us be responsible for the things that are our responsibility. One of the biggest things that we must learn about leadership is that you don't shirk responsibility, because the easiest thing to do, it's their fault, their fault. How did Buhari emerge? That's what we have to ask ourselves. It's because people like you and I didn't vote. Because people like you and I thought, oh, well, let Nigeria do what they want to do. That's their business, last will be all right. That's what we say. That's why Lagos didn't care about who became the governor, or the president, or the councillor, whatever, man. You guys keep doing your thing. We're doing well in business. We have our parties. We have 30 December. We're good. We're Lagos. We're party capital. That's what we thought. Like, guess what? With one edict, your businesses have been almost wiped out. With one edict. With one command, people were killed in the streets. And lives have been disrupted forever. Remember, the loss of one soul affects at least 4 different people simultaneously forever. That is for an old person, not a 14, 15, 20-year-old person whose life was just about to start.
Beginning.
Right? Then think about the psyche, the trauma that people have gone through because of what's happened. Then think about the loss of business that's happened. This year alone, I know what I went through in business, just trying to keep the company afloat. COVID. Restrictions. Your businesses are dependent on a lot of things that don't work. Companies, how many companies folded up this system? The statistics come at you here. So when you think about that system, the question is, how do you ensure that another Buhari doesn't happen again? Another Jonathan doesn't happen again? How do you ensure another Yaradua doesn't happen? Because guys, think about it. We've had 4 presidents in Nigeria. With all due respect, they have been lackluster. They have been very lackluster because we didn't participate. So how can you have a great this thing? And I'll give you another analogy. I'm a Man U fan, right? Manchester United. Yeah, if you're one of us, I love you. If you're not, then bye. Like, right? But seriously, one of the reasons why Manchester United was great, showed when Alex Ferguson retired. Literally the day he left, Man U crumbled. Same players, same salaries, same football fields, same opponents, 0. So what happened? It was that the coach was not on top of the team. Nigeria is like a brilliant team of people. Doctors, women, women winning global stuff, right?
Yeah.
Hardworking managers, kids that run fast, musicians that can sing their voices out, actors and actresses that are killing everywhere in the world, a Nollywood culture that's pervaded the whole entire planet, including Mars, right? And then, think about it. We have all those things. Then what's the problem? The coach has always been bad. But the question is, how was the coach selected? Because the coach was not selected properly. You put any other person come around. So guess what he does? He will take his favorites sometimes. I like you, Audu, come and join. No, he's not based on competence. But Ferguson understood all his boys. He understood the opposition. He understood how to command and put the right people at different places. And that's why they were such a great team. The minute he left, it was hard for them to replicate that success. We're now just hobbling along. Until Nigeria changes the process by which the coaches emerge, you will always have a lackluster team.
Okay, let me piggyback on that real quick. So we've already said earlier that we know the government and the way the Constitution is written is wrong, and it gives you absolute power, which corrupts absolutely and can give you that autonomy to do whatever. And now you're saying until the process is fixed, we cannot get the right coach. So do you think that this person in power, him or him not, do you think that
you're stuck on this narrative? You're stuck on this narrative. I can see.
No. I'm just watching, but I'm thinking, do you think that even if we all come out and we all vote and we all do that, this present government that we're contending with, do you think they will let, do you remember when I used to call you Audu? How do you do? Do you think they will let an Audu win? Even if you won, like we all voted for you, you think this present government that we have, Buhari and his cohorts, his government officials, do you think that they will let someone that's from a different party win? That's just...
Okay, so I think the question you have to ask yourself is, where does power lie?
With the people.
Are you sure?
That's you see, that question you're asking me is the same question I'm asking you. Where does the power lie?
No, you said with the people. You said
that's how it should be if it's a democracy.
Okay. No. My question was very direct. Where does power lie? You said with the people.
It's supposed to be with the people.
Don't say supposed. Lies with the people. Right? It lies with the people. Don't forget that. It is a fact. The problem is that the people refuse to wield the power that they have. It sounds very simple what I'm saying, but think about what I'm saying to you properly. I'll give you an example. You run organizations, right? You sit on top of people. Do you know that it's possible that your people can go on strike and you can't produce anything in your company? Hasn't happened before?
Yeah.
Doesn't the NLC perfunctorily every quarter, we're doing a riot? I mean, it's like in the calendar, like this month our riot is settled on the 4th. No, on the 5th. We'll do a riot on the 5th, and you know that riot doesn't happen because it's perfunctory, right?
Yeah.
So imagine that we sit down and we say to ourselves that we are not going to go to work for 1 month. We're going to be hungry. We're going to suffer, but we're going to make a statement that until we have these demands met, we will not leave our homes for 1 month. We're doing our silent protesting. In fact, we agreed that we're not going to move for 6 months. You think at some point in time, the government won't come in and say, you know what, let's have a conversation? Power is always negotiated. It's never handed over.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you must hold your power. If today my staff wake up and say, Audu, screw the salary you're paying us. If you don't pay us enough, we're going to leave. I can tell you that, go away, I'll find you more people. But after a while, I have to sit down. Meanwhile, I hope nobody from my company is listening to this because they won't use this against me.
They'll use
Like,
it against
how
you.
do you accept this? How do but they'll wake up and say, Audu, you know what? We are not happy with these things and we need to renegotiate the terms of our existence. As the leader, as an investor, or as the appointed leader, right? I can say yes or no. Then maybe they talk to me and nothing happens. They will go to the board of directors, right? Which is more than Audu alone, right? The other people. And they come and say, you know what? Audu is a mess. If you want this company to go on, you need to fire Audu or else we're all going to leave. The board has to look at it and say, really, who is doing the work? What do we stand to lose by doing this? And at a point in time, a compromise will be reached. So they may not fire Audu. They may reduce Audu's powers. But we've shifted. We've moved. It's no longer Audu telling you, come to work at 4 a.m. Your father, it's now it's more like, hey, can you come to work at 9 a.m.?
Your family is doing very well.
Yes. You calm down. We need to get to a point whereby our leaders understand that we appointed them. When we make demands, you must listen to the demand. Because if you don't, we have something that we can use against you, our vote. Now, if you say that the votes don't matter, and I made a post a few weeks ago talking about votes. People say, they'll never carry your vote, blah, blah, blah. What happened in Edo State? What happened in Edo State? In Edo State, the machinery was, the whole machinery of the ruling party as it then was deployed. It was a battleground. And people said, but guess what happened? The people decided that they wanted Obaseki. It's the people. Now, when it comes to party elections and rigging, every party rigs. APC, PDP, OPP, they all rig.
I can explain it. I drop a fake.
They're all rigged, Number two, the person that wins has two things going for him. Either incumbency, which is important in every part of the world.
Yeah.
Or popularity, which is very important in any part of the world. Or the fact that they have deployed more resources, right? In every election that's been fought in Nigeria for the past 15 years, there's always two strong parties. It's PDP and APP or AMPP and all that. And they have won some. There's always been back and forth. But I found that where you have a strong candidate that has done the work, that has blessed the people, right? And that has some groundswell support, it's harder for them to rig you out. It's harder. Listen, let me tell you something. If you deploy 300 soldiers, right, in front of Lekki toll gate, and there are 200,000 people there, and they began to shoot, and people were just running towards them, right? They would suppress those 300 people in a matter of minutes because the bullets will run out at some point in time.
But are we ready to pay that price?
That is the question. That is the question. And I'm not advocating for violence, please. No, please.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No. I'm not even saying people should do. I'm just simply saying that our government, look, even with all due respect to Buhari, I have my criticisms about Buhari, but I think that we need to also be fair to the man, right? He is, you can pop your eyes. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm saying it. Is that he is still operating within a system that has shielded him from the realities of leadership. And until we create that system that allows people to be able to see those things and interact, you're getting, come on, you've heard spokesmen now. What are they telling you? They are people that advise the president. What are they telling you? So how much is he learning? Oh, you go online, I know this is fake news, sir. Where do you get the information from? So that's why I'm saying that it's an overhaul.
The people around him.
All of us are the ones who have to police our votes. When we cast our votes, let's follow the INEC officer like this, back to back. Let's be doing Instagram live with the results. It's hard then to change the results. We must enforce our votes. We must come out en masse. We must come. And then the last thing I also want to say about this is that just around the political process in the grassroots. We always say that, I was having a conversation the other day and I told someone, I said, look, the problem is not the grassroots voting. The villagers don't play with their votes. And somebody put it even very, very succinctly. He said, the villager knows that this is my voter's card. Bad as the bad is 5,000 naira on election day.
Wow.
Think about it. It's 5,000 naira or 3,000 naira on election day. And you can earn 6,000 to 10,000 naira in a weekend, because presidential will be this week, the next one will be House of Reps, right? So that's why they collect their PVCs. They don't play with their PVCs. But you, Mr. Instagram and Facebook, you, Miss Twitter, right? You, Miss Social Media, you're busy retweeting, having fun, and they're like, the sun is hot today. Me, I can't go there. It will burn my skin. No need. I won't even bother, because it won't affect. We're only reinforcing, we're predicting to our future by these things that we say, because there's power in the word. There's power in the word. Do you know how do you know how you know there's power in the word? Because General Buhari came on this platform a week ago, and everybody was sitting with bated breath. Wow, what is he going to say now? We forced him. He's going to talk. Yes, what's he going to say? And with a few words, he made us powerless. So there's power in the word. The more we say, the more it happens. The more we begin to project into Nigeria's future, the more it will change. If we don't do that, we can keep talking from morning to night, and we're seeing the same thing. Nigeria is a failure. It will never change. Our votes don't count. You are predicting that the votes won't count, and they won't. The minute you start saying that the votes will count, then you do something about making sure it's counts or counted. You will follow up on your election. You will vote. You will register. 17 hours, they're trying to frustrate you. No problem. We'll stay. I must collect my voter's card. When you have it on the day of voting, you call your friends. I was on a call today with some of my colleagues, and this for the American vote. Obviously, I can't vote in America. And so some guy calls and says, so my colleague says, how many of you guys voted? Out of the probably 10, 15 people on the call, 85% of the people have voted. Because it's a conversation. Have you voted? Have you voted? Have you voted? The question you have to ask yourself in 2023, around this time, 2023, is this: did you vote? Did you participate? If you didn't, shut up and get on my Instagram, because you're wasting my time. You're just a critic sitting down having fun. You're not ready to change Nigeria.
Yeah. Wow. So what do you think we can do, to get people talking about? I mean, people are already talking about the importance of voting and all. This thing has started again. The importance of voting and all that. But how can we keep everybody on their toes? Because you see what, and I think this is what the government capitalizes on. We start like this, and then we all start pictures, Black Friday, Black Tuesday, we do that. And then now we're putting our selfies. Yo, man, hanging out, chilling. As in, it's like only 3 days and we've forgotten and everybody's back to business. How do we sustain the anger and convert it to action? I mean, so that the next generation can see that this is not just talk, this has to be done.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think that forums like this is useful. I mean, having these conversations is important to reignite that. I'm aware of several conversations, but I'm not very convinced that they'll be sustained without some clear plan of action. One of the criticisms that we found with this movement was that people said, oh, it was a leaderless movement. There needed to have leadership. This should have done this, da, 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 da. I don't agree that there needed to be leadership. I think that the young people in Nigeria got tired and they began to voice it out, and it culminated into what happened. And there are several leaders. But I guess the question is that, having done so, even among those that leaderless movement, there were leaders. There were people who were shaping thoughts. And these people now have to convert that thought into clear political action. And political action simply means creating groups, right? Beginning to create political parties, writing an ideology. Somebody sitting down and doing the work, really saying, I want to review the Constitution. I'm going to fix the Constitution. Maybe that's what I want to do. Maybe I'm going to work on a plan on electricity that encompasses Tesla technology with solar systems and see how we can light up Nigeria. Why not? We sustain it by those movements. But what is important is that you will see if the government begins to shift its position and begins to implement some things, that could be good in the short term. But in the long term, is difficult because we'll become complacent. Nigerians are the only people that when you push their back against the wall, there'll be a drill that'll come out of their back and begin
And
to
good.
in the wall. And then we keep accommodating. The day our Sudan moment comes, the day we wake up and say, and I think it's really one perspective. It's simply this. If you lost your father, mother, sister, brother over the past few years or that lucky incident, if you did, and that person could speak to you today, what would they ask you to do? See, when we personalize these things, we have a different perspective. It's the same way we treat women in Nigeria that I really hate. Is that the patriarchy as we've been, I mean, we grew up in that system, but we can't do the same things our fathers and fathers before us did without understanding the context. Is this, if Audu happened to be a woman today, would I like to walk into a meeting and be judged because I'm pretty or not, or because I have a nice shape or not? Because as a man, nobody cares what I look like. They ask me, what is your idea? So the fact that women are judged off their face and the attribute for them is painful. I've had to sit down and think about that and then say, because of that, I have to create as level a playing field as possible within my environment I control. Because that could be, and then to make it more real to me, and I started looking at that as my mother and as my sister, as my. Then I realized that when I looked at them from that lens, I wouldn't tolerate any staff, colleague, to treat women like that. So let's put ourselves in those positions sometimes and think about if I died and my ghost was floating around, right? And I was killed because of Nigeria. What is the blood of that person asking us to do today? To go and sit down and compromise and be happy with the substandard things that have happened in this country? Or is that blood telling us today that we need to change the system totally so that nobody ever has to die in his own country by police people who are paid by your taxes to protect you? That's how we have to think about it. And we must be in that mindset always. Think about what this means for other people. Be selfless for once. And once you understand that, when I got involved like with the Southern Kaduna stuff, I wasn't affected personally. I wasn't. In fact, I had a great relationship with the governor. It was great, right? We're about to do a project that would have engaged lots of young people. And people misconstrued it as a political action. It was not political. It was about your conscience that if, just in case the government doesn't have the information, we're letting the government know that, guys, this thing is happening. And the response to agitations by people is not to shut it down immediately, is to investigate, cooperate, and see if you can ameliorate the situation. And the response to government typically is like, it's a lie, it's not true, there's pushback. This must change in the next governments. This must change in 2023. This must change tomorrow in the next local government election, so that these people understand that you hold this in trust. And if we don't trust you anymore, we what? We detrust and we collect our things back and move it to the next person. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think.
See, the television has even gone red. That even me, I'm tired. Television is like, even me, I'm tired. Yeah. No, but this is really, you said something that was really key, and you know, it just really, really, really hit me, because sometimes, and it still goes along the lines of putting yourself in people's shoes. Right now, the last thing I want to hear is Buhari. The last thing I want to hear is that putting myself in his shoes. But then you now said, think about it. If you've ever controlled any little power or community, it's hard for you to hear what's happening in the grassroots. It's what the people around you tell you. Oh, Nigerian youth are lazy. That doesn't justify your mind or your intentions. Well, that's not what we're talking. Before they come for me and say he's a bad man, that's not what we're saying. I'm just saying that there is a way that the people around you. I remember when I used to go on tour, I had a manager. Every time I left the stage, he would call me and tell me everything I did wrong. Just even say that I did this right. Now it's like, no. If I start telling you that, your head will be swollen. but I owe you that to tell you this was what you did wrong. You shouldn't have come in like that. You should have left at this point. You shouldn't have dragged it, you know? And he will tell me. But a lot of people don't have that benefit. And they just have, oh, man, you killed that show. You killed that show. People were scattered. And it's a lie. So your team, you're really right about that. Your team is very important. And I don't empathize with him or whatever. We hope that he does what he's supposed to do.
I'm not empathizing. I'm not empathizing. I'm not
empathizing.
Empathy, I'm not. I mean, I just feel that. Look, when you look at, okay, so let me tell you. So last year, was it this year? No, it was last year. I had a revelation, an epiphany, right? I was flying from one city to another city, and I was sat in like I had the option of sitting in like premium or like economy, but the premium seat that was allocated was like in between two other seats, but the economy seat was just me and somebody by the window, and I prefer the window. But like, well, I want to stretch my legs, so I took the premium seat, you know. But I was in the middle, so I sat down between two men. I was watching them, and then I was just, you know, when you see like there's a chair right in front of me, and then I looked to the right. You know, when you're just bored, like you're reading something, you might be wondering, and then I could see the other guy's phone very clearly. The guy to my right in front, I could see his screen clearly. I could read every message. Then I caught myself like, you're doing peeping Tom. Why are you looking at this guy's message, right? So I was looking at the message, and then I just caught myself. I said, no. Then I looked around like, I hope this guy didn't see me looking at his message. And then I realized that this guy could not see the phone. So they wouldn't know that I could see that guy's phone. And this guy here could not see that
Perspectives, POV.
And then I realized that in life, there are three things that are important. People, position, perspective. So put it in context. We're sitting on the same aisle. Aisle 39, A, B, C. The guy in 39B, you assume that they're seeing the same thing. Just off of that, they're on the same row. Yeah, did you see him shoot him? No, I didn't see him. But you guys are on the same row. No, we're in the same position, but in different places and different perspectives approach. So when you're in leadership and you're trying to make about something, you could be sitting down in your place and you're so sure of what you're seeing because you have a unique view by virtue of your position and place. But the person sitting next to you doesn't have the same vision. He can't see the same thing. So for you to make a well-rounded decision, you need a round to get people's perspectives. Then the leader brings together all these perspectives and makes one decision. So this is important in us thinking about the way forward of people, is that what are the perspectives that these people are talking about? When the youth are talking about marginalization, what is their perspective that I can't understand because I'm no longer a youth? When the elders are saying, you guys are too young to rule, what are they talking about? Because they're sitting in a place that I'm not sitting and seeing things I can't see, even though we seem to be the same plane, right? When you look at things. Now, so understanding, when we understand that, then we now begin to open up and just realize that life is about a series of decisions and they're not about one person's perspective. So the best leaders get as much of perspective as possible, then they consult and they make a joint decision. That's what needs to change in how we do our politics. So what is wrong? Let's see the perspectives. Let's bring people together. Let's have one unified conversation. And guess what? If we don't all unanimously agree, we can do a consensus. So, yeah.
Wow. Man, that's my sermon for Sunday. I've heard that. You're sitting down. No, honestly, someone said empathy for humanity. I think that's really, as it goes across all boards. Television is just doing what it wants. Be doing what you want. We're doing what we want. No, but across all boards, this is what I think is lacking. Because now that we're talking about, because now we consider him as our enemy. But then what about the guys that lost their family members? We're not, like you said, we're not really putting ourselves in their position. They're not tweeting now and saying, Thursday vibes,
exactly. Yeah.
chilling, getting ready for weekend. Well, they're not doing that because they really lost someone. And I think that if we can put ourselves in that position, our actions will be affirmative. And it won't be just because, yeah, they shot people Black Tuesday, and then tomorrow we're like, yo, man, check out my new Rolls Royce, stuff like that. So I think it goes.
Let the bad experiences inform a good outcome. That's what, just across board, right? I'll give you an example. Having been a victim of grace, why wouldn't I be gracious to other people?
Why did you use the word victim?
Victim? Okay, sorry, a beneficiary of grace.
I was like, maybe there's another revelation there.
Sorry. But having been, I think I talk about Grace, my ex-girlfriend that broke my heart. I'm just kidding. But I'm just kidding. But seriously speaking, right? Having had friends that have blessed me, having had people that have forgiven me for messing up their lives, why wouldn't I forgive someone who's messed up my life?
Graciousness, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And it's not being graciousness. It is math. 1 + 1 equals something. Minus plus minus equals minus something, right? Or whatever it is. And times whatever. Is that I see many of our leaders who benefited from a system and now are pulling the ladder away from people not to come out the way they did. These leaders we're talking about were all part of protests. Nadeko, all these things. They were brought back because of their sacrifice. They were rewarded. It behooves on them to also throw out that ladder for other people to climb up. But once we get up there, we forget about people. That's why these moments of bad experiences should jolt us back into reality. Because we can get caught up. Let's be honest. You can get caught up. You have a new job, you have a new car, everything's going well. Your husband has just done this, your boyfriend or whatever has just bought you a nice ring or whatever it is. You're happy. Life is good. But you're forgetting that the people. Interesting. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to do a whole session on this. Your ring. We'll talk about that.
I bought it myself.
It doesn't matter. We bought it for you. We, the people, made it happen. So you owe us. You owe us. So I think that is. I just I mean, it's easy to talk. Like all this thing we're just talking. It's easy for anybody to talk very nice. But I do firmly believe in these things. That honestly, just as leaders, there must be a self. I had an interesting talk today with someone, and we were just talking about this. And she was asking me, she said, look, the question with our leadership is, how do we ensure that people are accountable to themselves? How do I make sure that Audu doesn't get so excited because he has hammered something that he forgets what he's here for? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's why I feel that the opportunity to interact with the public usually. Look, I've been on Twitter and people have insulted my life. Insulted me. How do you do this? I admit that I don't get insulted a lot compared to many other people I've seen because I always try to be responsible. I've had times where people have criticized me and I engage them. And by the time we're done, we become friends. Because they had a perspective they didn't understand anything about. And when I broke down, and then what I had to do was, instead of getting angry, I said, calm down. If you were him and you're looking at him, what would you think? And when you understand that, it helps you. The problem is we're so selfish that we don't innately we think only about our things, right? Yeah. Think about the just in patriarchy with Nigeria. I talk about this a lot because I'm getting educated about things I didn't know before. I'll be very honest, right? How would I feel if I was born a woman and I married this man and we work together, brought these kids to the world, then my man dies, then the villagers come and meet me and say, hey, Audu, let me call my female version is Audi, okay, like the car. Right?
Auda.
No, I don't like Auda. It sounds like I'm Auda here. No, I want Audi like a car. It's fancy. Right? Okay. So imagine that somebody walks up to me and says to me, Audi, because you're a female, you aspire to kill your husband, so we're seizing those things. How would I feel? And if I can't feel like a woman, if my sister married somebody and did such and such and such, and then they kicked her out of the house, how would I feel? And this thing is so simple, but so complicated because our natural instinct is to say, I am Audu, right? When I think about like some of the things I went through, I was arrested a couple of times and people say, but Audu now, you know all these people. No, Audu ain't shit. Audu is a lucky person that happened to have had one or two things that worked out for him, that he got to a place where he could know more people than the regular average person. That's all. But Audu could have been the water carrier that got shot the other day or arrested because he didn't have an ID card. So we must consistently remind ourselves that there's nothing special about us. We are like birds and bees. We're just human beings. We happen to have names. And because we think we're special, but we're not special. We're just another statistic. The only thing that changes is when we live for something beyond ourselves. That's why we talk about Kuti today. It's not because he had 500 Rolls Royces. Nobody remembers Fela from, oh, he has 79 fur coats. No. It's that in spite of his privileged position, he fought area the detriment to the detriment of his life. I'm not saying everybody should be Fela. You can't always be. But I'm just simply saying that once in a while, let's do a self-check. Are you doing the best you can do? That rhymes, right? You know,
how do you do? Are you doing the best that you can do?
Like I hate it when I'm introducing myself. Go
ahead. No. Go ahead. When you're introducing yourself.
Like when I meet people, so just imagine that we just met. So just introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bouqui'.
Hi, my name is Audu.
How do you do?
How do you do? How'd that go?
You remember the first time I met you? Do you know that my inner circle since almost 20 years, they call me Jiva. Almost 20 years. And you know why? Because of you. Because the first time I met you in White House, when they said this is G Vibes, you said Jiva. So everybody says, I'm not joking, since then they call me Jiva. Anyway, but I wanted to say something and I forget. I forget. You see, we cracked jokes and forgot about it. But what are you doing to ensure that you're part of this foundation, this structure in place? Because everybody's saying, I'll do for president. But you see, we're just saying
it's Titash. I have a guy, my blood brother, Titash. Right, he always does this. So he's
but not only everybody. Mark, Joseph, a lot of people have said it. So Titash is a lot of people have said, and I'm pinning it as they're saying it. What are you doing to get personally hands-on involved so that you can lead? Because the truth is, this young guy that came up today has showed us that it. And I'm talking to an empty chair, but it's all right. I've been used to talking to. Okay.
And this is a real me. This is a real me, by the way.
You didn't go and switch. Like, okay, let me see which hand did you use, right or left? And do you speak as fluent? And your cheeks are full? Are you still 6 feet? But all right. Well, okay. So my question is,
just for the press, just to let you know that I really don't know her that well. She forced me onto this platform.
You can't deny me, never. So, what are you doing to ensure that hands-on? Because this guy that came up today has proven that we don't need young people. We need people with intelligence. Ageism is not what we're using as the restriction or the guidelines now. Whether you're young or old, we need people that think, because this guy is young and he's let us down. Imagine if this guy became president and we all voted him. He's young, he's intelligent.
I just saw somebody said Audu that stole money from P-Man. I just saw a comment from Florence that I stole money from P-Man. I've never actually even been part of P-Man, so I'm sure you have
Audu, you know that look, Florence, I love you, but it's like a nose. Everybody has an opinion, so I really don't pay attention to the comments, you know.
No. But you know the reason why it's important. I'm open to that. That's fine. It's a misconception.
So Florence, this is Audu, the owner of Chocolate City. You know about MI. He's the founder of the group. They have nightclubs. This is Audu of Chocolate City, not
yeah.
Audu of
I
P-Man.
haven't. I've never been part. Yeah, but I mean, she knows I'm music out clearly because she's saying P-Man. But
You said
well,
I
I've
they
never
joke,
been.
and they joke, and they joke. Please
Okay.
don't joke about stuff like that, because we have people in the
Yeah.
diaspora watching and listening, and we don't
Yeah.
want them going out with,
Yeah. No.
you
No. No.
know,
So don't worry. But I did steal some things before. I
wrong
won't lie
with
about
that.
that.
You
So
stole your
should I
wife's
confess
heart.
that? Should I confess that now on
No,
TV
no,
or
no. We
the
another
next show?
session. Yes, another
Okay, that's the
session.
confession show. Okay, yeah. So Florence, we'll talk about that one. I'll tell you that later on. But yeah, you were
Hey,
saying, yeah, back
ONG.
to what you said.
Yeah, so I'm saying that right now, I think that we need to focus and have our parameters right, because now we're saying a lot of the young people that are in charge of this protest, because while they say they don't have leadership, we have representatives. And these representatives are like, we don't want these old people. We don't want that old people. While that might be great and it sounds good, that in itself is a problem, because ageism is as bad as racism. You can't say all we need is wise people,
Yeah.
old, young, because I've seen very stupid young people. Our
Yeah.
actor on TV trending today is an example. Do you understand? And honestly, because we can't put you there to represent us, and the same things that got you there, you're talking against it. It doesn't make any sense, but we're not going into that. So what I'm saying is, we don't need old people, we don't need young people, we need wise people, we need people that know what they're doing,
Yeah.
people that understand the basics. So I'm asking you, what are you doing as someone who understands, what's going on? What are you doing to be hands-on involved? Have you reached out to any of them? Do you want them to reach out to you? Or how can you be personally involved in this?
Reach out to any of who? Who are you talking about now?
Okay, so like I said, we don't have leaders on I'm saying we, because I was there with my fingers and the Twitter, just tweeting and all that. So while they say they don't have leadership, we just did it.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes, I
So
mean, we've been a lot of these people. I'm actually like friends with, and we've been talking. And I understand their position, and I respect their position. I think that these movements must happen organically at first. You understand? I mean, even in social media, you need organic following. Then you push it with digital marketing to increase the numbers. So I think there's a first organic push, and it's the right push. I've spoken to quite a few of the women and the men behind it, and they're brilliant people. But it needs to go beyond just being resourceful. It's really about thinking about, what do we want to achieve? Let's not get confused with the pictures and the posturing, and focus on what needs to change. And I think what needs to change, like I said, is this. One, we must begin to put a whole groundswell of new people with new, and when I say new people, new-minded people. I don't like age, I don't like sex, right? In as much as we can say that, and I think that we just need more women, just generally speaking, right, in positions of power, simply because of one thing, is that they have been so marginalized for such a long time, and we're seeing when they get opportunities, how they flip and how they change things. That I think that we need more. So how can we get more women empowered, right? Guess what has changed that's amazing? It's actually the random thing. You know that when women are in politics, it's difficult for women to do politics. Do you know why?
Why?
Most of the meetings that they have is at night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., hushed in different houses. Now with coronavirus, people can do a Zoom call. With technology, we can do a call, an 8-way call that's secure and encrypted.
Yeah.
Meaning that a woman can wake up in a house, in the comfort of her family or whatever thing is, and have those calls still. Sounds like a small thing, but it's a big thing. Because now you have secure conversation, maybe more secure than even sitting in a place, because you have material. So that means more women can be involved. We can have planning meetings while the women are taking care of their kids, but making sure
making
that
amala.
making amala, whatever it is, and then this thing. And guess what? Even the men are empowered. They can go online, and I mean, sometimes I just check on YouTube and see how to cook something and do it for myself, because if my wife is not around and all that, I can learn how to do that. I didn't have those skills before. I didn't have the access. So there's so much information. I think we need to use what we have. The other way we're talking about, like, government has power. Sorry, guys, we have power. The problem is that we're not wielding our power properly. The power is this. With a tweet, I can reach 4 million people. Files the Bad Guy did it. Runtown did it. Wizkid, Davido, all these guys, that's what they did. These guys are the announcers. They have the potential to be the next leaders as well, right? But right now, the politicians are in a position to disseminate the information at once. So let's use those guys. Let's use the strategic people who have understood how to build economies and build companies to build infrastructure that can fund campaigns for these things. They showed it with Flutterwave and how they raise money. And the lady, FK Abudo, what they call her, like, I read one of her tweets and I said, imagine if governors can give us a breakdown of how they spend our money every month like this. 10 million was spent for this. This is a breakdown. Let's know where our money is going. So when you ask us for more money, we're confident to give you because you're showing us accountability. So I think that we're in a place where things can change. I think that's already starting. And I think that in terms of how I'm getting involved, I am in a lot of these conversations. I've been involved for a long time. You know, I've just never really, I'm not a showy person. I don't talk too much about things that I do. But I believe that right now there's time to dig down, have those conversations, and talk about strategy and delivery. No longer hypotheses anymore. So yeah, I mean that's how I'm trying to, and even where I'm in the States as well, we've been involved in mobilizing people for these elections as well. Been involved. I also want to learn how it works here as well, you know, and the things we might be able to learn from these guys. So yeah, that's my small token. Yeah, but I just want to use this platform to encourage, and thank you for bringing me on. Many people that I'm seeing a lot of comments from, guys. Nobody. I can bet you all the guys on this thread, they are 50% at the minimum more intelligent than the people that we've had leaders before. I'm not exaggerating. Because the information that you guys have now, they never had it. But what's the difference? They invested their time in building political capital. So if one thing we can do today is adopt a local government councillor. If each of us adopted one and had a seat and a say in what happens in the local government, that is one step further to better governance. Because what happens is that, imagine my village now, the councillor probably may not speak English very well. The chairman, probably won't. And probably just doesn't have any qualifications in school and all that. And that's not important still, because now you can learn everything online, right?
Yeah.
But imagine me being able to bring him to Lagos and say, you know what, councillor from Dura, I'm going to take you for a weekend in Lagos. You spend time with the councillor of Isaleko local government or Etiosa and see what they're doing in the local governments. I'm not saying that they're much better, but you just to see the scale of what it could be.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine that I bring them to a poetry reading or I bring them to a show and they're seeing how culture has been exported. Imagine that happening and me being able to drop 50K a month and just say, look, this is for developing young people over a year. 50K is nothing to me, to you. Imagine what will happen in a year's time when they want to make decisions about education. Because these guys sit on the boards, by the way.
Yeah.
You have informed somebody to make the right decision with those people. As small as that. Bouquet, imagine 774 local governments that actually work in Nigeria. They don't need a president. You won't disturb yourself with Buhari because Buhari is taking care of federal issues. We'll deal with that later on. But let the people who live in local governments benefit from that chairman, from that councillor, from the educational fund.
I hear you. But when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking this is a much bigger problem because let's talk about the palliatives.
Okay.
They were given. So this is not that the president or whoever did not give them. So, because right now we're blaming Buhari didn't do this. This one did. I'm not on anybody's side, you know. But what I'm saying is they did disburse these things. They did give them the food. Some people decided to lock it up. I cannot process that.
But guess what? What if the local government went and raised palliatives from its illustrious sons directly? What if they did that?
Yeah,
did they have the power to do that? No, hold on.
Okay.
They could do it. You see, Bouquie, let me tell you something, right? Nigeria is a lack of vision.
See, we're saying we're saying the same thing.
Okay.
What I'm saying is the mind of this, we're talking about how to help, yes, if I join the board. But I'm saying resources is not the problem.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. My point is resources is not the problem, because they were given these resources. They decided to sit on it. For some people were even, I saw some expired. I mean, so I'm thinking to myself, how inhuman can you be? Or
but what was this was on the state level, right? The states had it because the COVID committee gave it out to states, and the states were supposed to relay it to local government areas, right? I hear you, but again, you know, and maybe the way I think is just maybe not regular.
Give me an idea of what you're thinking.
My thinking is this: there's a president, there's governor, there's chairman, there's local government, there's
hierarchy.
Everybody has a power that they can do things by themselves, right?
Do they want to? Is the problem.
Local government chairman wake up and say, I want to also get fertilizer and this and hustle for it and not get it? The local government think outside of his local government, for example, and decided to work on the database of its indigents around the world and say, guys, we need help. I'm part of local organization from Kaduna State. I know monies that have been raised within these small communities, 50 people, 100 people, 50, they'll send $10,000, $5,000.
Yeah.
So if the local government reached out and said, guys, our people are dying, there's hunger, please donate, we'll recognize you and we'll honor you. As a chairman, you put a list in the town square and say, James, Audu, Ibori, Michael, James, Harley Chase, right? They all contributed such and such amount to the palliatives. That's what you get. Are you saying that those people who have donated those resources? They could have. If the government failed to do so, what can you do? That's my question. What can you do? Because that fix all the problems. Let's be honest. I'm not unrealistic about the realities of Nigeria. And that's why we get confused, because we feel that we can fix every problem. We can't fix all the problems at the same time. Let's eat the elephant slowly. On your local government level, what can you do? As a councillor, what can you do? As Bouquie, you're using your platform to educate people right now.
Okay.
You're buying fancy rings to the money that we have sponsored you to do, but that's another discussion. We'll come to that tomorrow.
What money have you sponsored?
But I'm saying that you're using your platform to educate people. You might not understand the value of what you're creating, but when you go to your IGTV and I want to learn about this topic and I listen to it, I get a nugget and I walk away with that. Imagine if everybody had that mindset of using their own small position to get things done. All my involvement in whether it's enough is enough or protests in the past and those things, I knew that that's all I could do. I'm just using what I have to do what I can do. That's all. Look, that's all Nigeria needs from us. No matter how bad it is, those guys that went and did SARS, imagine it was one individual effort that culminated to hundreds of thousands of movements around the world. That's what they could do. So ask what you can do. Don't get stuck with Buhari. Because you can't fix that problem right now anyway. So what do you do? Mobilize your community. Paint a school. Give free medical services. Go to your local government and call your homies. Oh, Dr. Kole Osho, Dr. this, Dr. that. You're going to my village. I will sponsor you guys. Come in and hang out my village. You drink palm wine, you eat bushmeat, but you also teach our people.
Bushmeat. Bushmeat. You should have said bushmeat.
I'm trembling. I mean, this interview is officially over. I can't do this. I can't concentrate anymore.
I can't focus on it.
It was nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you.
I need to just go on YouTube and look at videos of bushmeat. You know. Speaking of which, I think I saw bushmeat yesterday, like a live. Like, this will be.
Where?
If you can roast this thing, but you know they'll arrest me here if I try.
It was somebody's pet.
Yeah.
But you're right.
But it's as simple as that. I just think that be pragmatic. Be pragmatic. Don't waste your time with things that you cannot immediate effect, and then begin to plan. That's it.
Wow. So guys, we've been talking since. Everybody's saying get involved, get your PVCs, because now everybody is like, what can we do now? You know how we are aggravated in the moment. What do we do now? And then it slowly disappears and all that. But get your PVCs, get involved with your local government, get accountability, be friends with them. Don't leave them to do whatever they want to do. And slowly but surely we will get to the desired
promised land.
Yes. Thank you so much, Audu. Any last thing you want to tell people? You know, I mean, we've talked about everything from being involved to, you know, having a proper perspective, stepping out of yourself and seeing, so that before you cast a stone, you know, you're like, what if I'm the other person on the other side of that stone throwing? You know, so is there anything you can do? I mean, you can want to add. I'm reading the same. I'm reading what the person is saying, so I'm asking, is there anything you can do for you? No, but sorry. I'm all over the place.
I want to thank everybody who joined and listened. This is expensive data, so thank you so much for listening. I'm just excited because I think that for the first time in maybe 5-6 years, there's a reawakening of our conscience and saying, look, we deserve more. And once you realize that you need more, then you do more to get more. So I think that the second thing I also want to just say is, Bouqui, thank you for having me. You're a strange friend because we've known each other, but we always have intense sessions where we connect. I've known you for now 15 years. 15 years.
Now 2005. 15 years.
You know, and I think that you're definitely one of those leaders that we need. And I think that the problem when we think about leaders, we think about voting, but no. Leaders have emerged in different sectors and they're more powerful than politicians sometimes. So just being able to use your platform, I always stood for something really positive. I think that's huge. And I think you're a blessing to all of us. And I think that we should have more women. Just be yourself. Screw us men. I mean, we just talk rubbish. We don't know what we're talking about half the time. Be yourself. Be unapologetically yourself. I always tell that. Just be yourself. Somebody who resonates will like you. And those that don't, that's their business. You know, that's life. Then the last thing I also want to say, that for those of you who are making comments, God bless you, we love you, but Nigeria needs you. There's no Messiah. That Messiah is you. And if everybody just looked in the mirror and found out that maybe they're actually all wearing a Superman cape under that dressing, it might change how they behave. You know, so that's what we need to think about. There's no hero. There's no Messiah. It's not one person. It's all of us. So thank you.
Say that last line. Say it again. That thing. The three basic things that guard your life.
That was one. I can't remember that. Come on.
No, but you said the second one. I can remember the second one. If it's to be, it rests on me.
Oh,
you remember?
Yeah,
those
if
things.
It is to be, it means it has to be me.
Yeah, it has
the
to
first
be.
one was, I can't remember the first one. The first one was about not ask about what people can do, is what you can do about the situation.
What you can do.
And then the third one I said was, that one was deep.
It was deep.
I actually kind of remember. Oh God, I forgot what it is. But I think it was something around. Oh Jesus, I can't remember it. But
Funke, you should understand. Remember what he said. But really, those two things, if that's all, you know, if it's to be, like you said, look in the mirror, find your power and wield it. Stop saying, UN will come, US will come. Listen, nobody is coming. We are our messiahs. And the second one is, whatever you can do, don't ask what someone even wrote it. Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. So the three P's, they said 3 P's. 3 P's. Well,
I remember. No, 3 P's are, no, that's easy. That's people,
perspective.
Position,
was it perspective? Yeah.
People, position, perspectives.
Yes.
The last one, I'm actually just it just slipped my mind because I saw it, but it just slipped my mind. But it doesn't matter. I think, ultimately speaking, I think the question really is, the power is in you. just remember that the power is in you, the power is in you, the power is in you. And that's it, really. So thank you guys. And see
Audu,
you guys.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Take